Once again, COVID-19 has speared its ugly head in the newspapers again, and reports that the COVID-19 origin is in Wuhan in one of the laboratories, and the Chinese government deny all of this, and they're going back to their old conspiracy theory that it comes from Fort Detrick's in the United States of America. Now, I think I'm quite a logical guy, but let's just remember two facts. It takes about 2 weeks. What we learned about COVID, it took about 2 weeks for you to catch COVID from another person. Okay, 2 weeks. And the shelf life of COVID just lying on the surface, like that, for example, just there, can be up to 2 months. Okay. The first cases of COVID-19 actually started in December of 2019. There we go. We're going to do this logically. And this was in Wuhan. The cases were around the wet market, and close by to that was one of these virology labs. Okay. And these were the first cases happened around this certain area. Now, this is the Chinese government side. Basically, they're saying it didn't, and what actually happened was it came from Fort Detrick's in America. Okay, they do have a virology lab there, but there were no cases in Fort Detrick's until COVID hit America a little bit later on. But what they're saying is that there was an old people's home about 50 miles, like 75 or 80 kilometers away, where some old people did have some problems related to breathing and respiratory effects, and some died. But that is like 80 kilometers away. So how did COVID-19 from Fort Detrick travel all the way to this isolated old people's home? It doesn't make sense. The other story said that in October of 2019 that there was the Wuhan War Games, and America was invited, and they claiming that it came over from Fort Detrick's there. But the first case of COVID-19 was, yes, in Wuhan. Yes, there were the American or the International War Games or whatever it was there. But that was in October, the beginning of October. Now remember, 2 months of the shelf life, which would be October and November. So if it was brought over, then how come the first cases were in December, which is going to be 3 months, unless we know that 2 months is incorrect. So, and then where the stadium is in Wuhan compared to where the first cases were, which were around the virology lab, it doesn't make sense. There's no logistical enterprise. Now, please do note that China also said it came from Iran, Italy, England, America, all these other countries, passing the blame off of them, the Chinese government, not the Chinese people, the Chinese government, to other countries to deny the fact. That's the logic of it all. When cases did spread, why did they spread to other countries in 2020? Well, quite simply, when COVID cases were in Wuhan, the government, the Chinese government, local government, decided to lock down Wuhan. But this was on one certain date in January, and then you had a chance to leave. All domestic flights were actually banned, but international flights weren't. And where did those flights actually go to? America, Italy, Iran, Spain, United Kingdom, etc. And that's how the virus spread. Now, if you think I'm totally wrong, that's fine. I'm just putting my logical point of view across. that the Chinese government did so many different theories that it came from so many different countries. Again, it's very difficult to trust the Chinese government, period. Yeah? And when people say to invest in China, I would say the answer, don't invest in China because of the government, because their laws are so variable, so unfinished that they can change it to anything they want. Look at the national security law in Hong Kong. Yeah? It's not an exact law. It's so varied again that it doesn't make sense, and it's so unfair. So the authorities can have complete control because they say of this law, but this law is not. It's so round like that. So going back to COVID, it just obviously logistically makes sense that the people had difficulties with COVID, first of all in Wuhan, around the area of the virology lab. So most likely, absolutely, but I would say definitely a leak, because then it was in that small area, then it got bigger and bigger and bigger in Wuhan. Then you had the international flights still allowed from Wuhan, and that spread to other countries around the world. So Fort Detrick's in the United States doesn't make sense at all. Nothing. Please leave your comments, your views, your point of views. If you think I'm absolutely nutty, then let me know. But this is my logical opinion. My name is James, and this is Buzz. Thank you.